when you're realizing that all your life in one phone, it's actually getting crazy.
AI is a game changer. It's like internet, you know.
That's a topic number one.
It's not something that it's like out of the blue totally. It's always a little bit of other
You're
pieces.
making batters. Hello guys, I'm Alina and I'm thrilled to invite you for our YouTube channel. Today is a special day for us as we are launching the new formats, the video interviews, and our first guest is Renata Hartle. Hello Renata.
Hi.
So Renata is Director of the Technology Solution at Colliers International, and today we want to dive more into her work and a little bit in her life.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. As the first question at the start, I know that you have more than 8 years experience in the real estate industry. Let's begin, if you don't mind, from generally your path, starting from your time at Skanska and until now, Colliers International.
So I actually joined Skanska in 2011 when I was pretty young, and my job was an HR business partner. So my main role was to attract potential talents, recruit them, grow them. I was doing lots of sessions for trainings and organizing development paths for people, and also recruiting engineers and learning on some technical aspects of projects. And at a certain point we wanted to work more with creativity of people and how to open their minds to do more innovative things, to create better projects. And I started to run what we called Creativity Mangle. We'd gather people, and I was coming up with different exercises of how to push them to think in a more creative way. And people were coming up with lots of ideas, and they were great ideas. But after the session, they had to go back to their daily job, and often those ideas ended up on some list. And I just felt like we all want to do them, and we need to find a way to facilitate, to take the next step and make those ideas happen. And I was working a little bit with that, as still being an HR, and my company put together a group that was supposed to define new strategy, new business plan for the next 5 years, and one of the bases for that strategy was innovation. So I was working on with a team of people from different countries on how we can actually make it happen and how to push those ideas to be delivered. And after the strategy, I was nominated to take a job and become innovation manager. So
nice
to
change.
put someone to be responsible for them. And that's how it all started with my path on innovation technology for real estate.
Interesting. And what is actually your role as a Director of Technological Solutions? What does it mean? Like, what does it include?
So when I became innovation manager for Skanska, I was working with Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary and Romania, so international environment, different projects, different locations. And one of the main thing was to create some kind of a program that would connect technologies and make a standard of how we can make more innovative buildings in terms of, for example, mobile access control or smart parking. And I was working with defining it with a software team that was creating a system, but also with projects of how to really implement such solution. And I have learned so much, and I made so many mistakes because, you know, it was we were really pioneering. I know that there were things like this happening in different continents, in different countries, but in this region we were really pioneering, and we had to learn, and our partners had to learn, and even users had to learn. So after working with Skanska for quite a while, I just felt like I have so much experience, like real experience from the field, that I want to share it, and I want to have a bigger influence on the market. So I joined Colliers, and in my job I help landlords who own buildings or developers who are preparing buildings to really address aspect of technology and define what smart building we want to have, and then help them actually do it, and in the end train people, so occupiers of buildings, final users, to really use the technology, so it doesn't only sit and it's available there, but it's really in use.
Understand. Very nice to hear. It's difficult to educate actually the people, the occupants, and to describe them that they can take these benefits, because I know that people always are very scared to get some new things
Yeah.
And they usually prefer to stay in the stable situation rather than learn some new things which can give a better, sometimes better solutions for them.
So there are two aspects, I think, in terms of that. Like number one, there is an innovation curve that shows how innovation is being adopted among people. And it shows that at the beginning we have innovators who love to come with new ideas and to do new things. Then we have early adopters who love to test new things. So, you know, people who first started to use Uber or Bolt and be like, hey, you're still using taxis, you didn't check this app. They go and buy a curvy LED TV and pay premium on that because they love to test, they love to have opinion, and they love to share with others of what they think about it. And then we have early majority, late majority, and laggers. But what's important is to find those early adopters in whatever innovation you're putting or new things, or even if you're just implementing some change, people who are open, and then they become your ambassadors. So if I go to the building and there is like 20-something occupiers, I always look at which company is early adopter, which will want to talk about it positively, which will test and provide feedback without saying, oh, this doesn't work, but oh, we found that this and this maybe is not fully transparent, like we were trying to, I don't know, set up access and we couldn't, you know, get it. So that gives you a very good base to then talk to people who are not that open and they rather have something tested. And the other side, that I have to say, COVID has changed the game. When I was like 6 years ago going and speaking about this, people felt that this is gadgets, this is extra things, like this is not necessary for the business. And COVID has shifted it. It is necessary for the business. If you rent 20 parking spaces downtown Warsaw, it costs significant amount. And when you know only 5 people are using them,
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So now you want smart parking. You want to know how many people at what time. You want to give them possibility to book. You want seamless access. You want to let your guests in and just put their license plate number. Suddenly everyone understood that, or the business environment has changed and it actually became essential.
So at that moment you already worked with Colliers, right?
Yes.
Did you come up with more ideas of some new solutions during the COVID, or you was just developing all the project which you had before?
So I think COVID has proven that previous ideas were great, but because there is other thing called ESG, there are new needs for new ideas and new ways of solving some problems in buildings. Like, for example, how do we report waste? How many plastic trash is created in a building? How much of a paper? How much of bio? People need that for reporting carbon footprint. How do we reduce energy? How do we monitor water consumption if we have an old building that doesn't have smart metering? So to say, we're constantly going and adding and extending the scope and trying to understand of what things may help occupiers to really have an efficient building and feel that their operations in the building are efficient. But also in 2021, WiredScore as a certification system decided to come to Poland, and that was also another game changer for me, since I was waiting for something like that for quite a bit. And having a global system that benchmarks buildings and verifies which one is smart, which one is not, which one is prepared for digital connectivity, which one is not, is really making everyone understand that there is no way back and we need to work with buildings to make them smarter.
Sometimes you have really creative things and you think that this is amazing and this is great to implement, but basically you don't have any useful benefit from that. Did it happen to you? Did you have some kind of this project which never get into the life just because, let's say, it's no need in the world at the moment for them?
I think I have a very long list of things like that, but sometimes they come back. I think it really depends of who I'm working with, because there are certain customers, building owners and certain occupiers that are really focused on the bottom line of what only makes sense, and you can clearly calculate ROI. And then there are groups that are way more open to things that make your life just easier. For example, mobile access. We all use plastic cards for many, many years in Poland. NFC works very good on those cards and RFID. And why to move to the mobile phone? It takes time, it creates change, it costs extra money. But you know, for our generation, younger generation, it's really like, my device is my thing. Like, I don't want to carry extra stuff. Please put my office and the entry to my phone. How do you calculate ROI from that? If I would have my own company, big corporation, I would love my people to be excited about the office, about the place they're coming to do their job. So for me, that would be enough. And for some companies, it is. For some, it's not.
Let's discuss some of your project a bit more. A very interesting topic. So, connected by Skanska, Colliers Mobility Pass, and Wirla Smart Office, right? So, exactly about this project, when these ideas were born, or you can talk just about one if it's easier.
I think they were like built in a little bit, you know, like all of them, because like even with Colliers Mobility Pass, when I worked with Skanska in the United States, I met a company called AppFlex, which was at that time a startup providing access to multiple co-working locations. And I honestly just loved it so much. I was thinking if I should just quit my job and start something like this in Europe.
Wow.
But then I was like, it doesn't make sense, like those guys are already advanced, like why do you know? And I was very much interested to work with them. So when I moved to Colliers, I was looking for like how do we make the partnership and how to interest people who are working on the global level to do something in Poland. And I always say that I'm one of the luckiest persons in the world. 2 months later, Colliers in the United States decided to sign partnership agreement with AppFlex.
Wow.
And suddenly I had just, you know, things prepared and I could just focus on Poland and start building a network here. So all the co-working locations from Poland could join AppFlex and then start selling it. So that was interesting setup. With Wirla, for example, those guys, they're from Warsaw. They started a project called Wirla because from the world of charging, induction charging. And their idea was to put an induction charger in every single desk. So when you would put your phone on a charger, we would understand that the desk is busy. Nice idea, but really the use case was difficult. Like you don't always put your phone down, you know, you are texting, calling while working. Not everyone has an induction charging in their phone, and why do we need to know? It was, you know, 8 years ago. Yeah. Why do we really need to know which desk is busy or not? But we started to work with them. They switched to sensors, so they understand now instead of phone if legs are under the desk. It's a pure sensor. And then years ago, I added the idea to add a QR code, so you don't need a sensor, but you can have a cheap version when someone scans a QR code and claims the desk, or books a desk and then confirms using a QR code that they are actually using it. So when I moved to Colliers, we started this partnership and started to really work on the product, but they were aggressively calling me for like 3 years before that, just trying to, you know, make something together, try to, you know, and they were so stubborn that I, you know, with every conversation I'll have just a little one extra idea of how to make it better, that then I felt so invested. We had to go further. And now I feel the solution is really on the scale up. Big corporations are using it, and, you know, COVID again changed the game because everyone needs a desk booking and parking booking system. And I'm super proud of how the journey went through and where we are today.
What is the difference between working in a huge company and a small company? Which impact do you finding for yourself there?
So when I went to States, I was with Skanska, and I never been a part of just a very small company. I worked with them, and I would say that always had a positive impact and like feeding my vibe to have energy and just like this stronger belief that things are possible. Because when you work for a big company that has some structures, ways of doing things, defined processes, and defined path of getting approvals for things, sometimes might be discouraging for innovation. So I think that's a very good balance of just having, you know, people who call you and know you with their ideas, with their thoughts, and, you know, there are only 3 people in the team, so they need you, they need your perspective. And I think it's just really win-win situation as long as we're transparent, we never use each other in a too far way.
No bureaucracy, right?
Yes.
Like in the huge companies, yeah.
But at the same time, like the difference between CEE region and States, I feel like just States have more traditional business culture, more like defined etiquette, what's okay, what's not okay, even the dress code of coming to the office, or just like hierarchy in the way you connect with people. And I feel like here we're more easygoing, not to the extreme.
By here you means Europe, right?
Yes, and mostly CEE, because like even France, Germany, UK, it's a little different. I think just because the wall went down in 89 and that's where all the business started. We have lots of young people, people with fresh minds, not people that for 5 generations before they own this business and they know the way it's supposed to happen. So I think there is more energy here and we adopt solutions way faster. That might be also because of some how to say it, like we probably feel like we have lots of catching up to do. So we want to prove that we're ready. And I remember 2017-18 we were working on the first mobile access here in Warsaw, and I was like checking data of how many people use PayPass in their cards. Apple Wallet was supposed to come, and like the adoption of contactless payments, just whole fintech in this region was extremely faster than United States. So when Apple in California, where Apple's from, released Apple Wallet and you could pay with your phone, the infrastructure was old and no one was just open to change the terminals for receiving payments to be able to deal with NFC. Here, all the terminals were ready because we were using the PayPass in our card already. So you could switch from the phone to the phone from the card immediately.
I also found that I think that Europe, they are more ready for this new style of leadership, that when the leader is not anymore a boss, it's mostly a mentor, right? And he is investing in their team and they're really listening to the team. We as well in our company, we're doing a lot of calls, like catching ups and like kickoff meetings, just to ask everyone what they think about this or that project before we start. So, and get all the ideas. So it's not only about I'm boss and you're my workers. So not anymore. Exactly. And that's great. And I think that United States still somewhere in between. I think they are going out from this model, but they still didn't reach that level as Europe. So, and what else? Maybe some other differences you found between working in the markets like CE, Nordic, United States, maybe some other difference apart from that? Did you find like some challenges working on this market?
I would say it's always in the end of the difference of who you're working with, the mind of the final receiver or customer, your partner. But I just generally feel like because of everything we just talked about, CE takes decisions quicker, we move faster, and there is more understanding for making mistakes than the West. I feel like everything is more analyzed, verified, which makes sense, from the other hand. But at the same time, it's losing a little bit of opportunity, I would say.
To develop opportunity, or
to do things quicker, and I would say keep the flexibility. I think flexibility is the key. COVID has shown that. So even when I work with implementing technology to the building, like one of the most important questions I always ask to providers, or when we work to set up new functionality, is how we embed flexibility. When we're working on Connected by Skanska, one of the things I just kept asking, okay, we have this amazing idea, let's say QR code entry for visitors. How do we make sure that occupiers that for some reason do not want to use it can turn it off? How do we check how many people want to use it, and how we give them flexibility that when they want to use it, they can actually jump on it, after a year, for example. So on every level of the software we were setting up, okay, you can turn off something for the whole company. So the whole company is not sending maintenance tickets to the app or individual users. So you have, for example, I don't know, you start internship program and you don't want your interns to invite guests directly, or you don't want your interns to book a parking spot for your guests. And you can block it on individual level, group level, or company level. And COVID has proven that. Yeah, companies change their mind. Like they sign 10 years lease, but after 5 years they decide they want to use mobile credentials. It's okay. As a building, for me, that's the whole concept of future-proofing, is to really think of flexibility and how we can adopt the change. It's not, oh, we have this great idea, let's force it on everybody.
Yeah, it's all about choice, right? And what do you think about the trends right now? So, since you are deeply engaged with the global tech community, what do you think, like, most, at the moment, like, the most exciting trends for the real estate sector?
Absolutely, AI.
Oh, this is...
I think for everybody working with tech, AI is a game changer. It's like internet, you know?
Yeah, that's a topic number one. Yeah, let's talk about AI. I'm very curious. This is my favorite topic right now because in our company we all have different opinion about that. We always actually discussing a lot how it's going to be in the future, how actually AI changing the game now. Yeah, as you said. So you all know, like you notice as well that it's just happened in 1 month that like on the market. It's raised more than 1,000 AI tools, programs, ChatGPT, and etc. So why it's happened exactly this? Can you just explain on your personal opinion, maybe to share, why it happened in 1 month, this like such a fast acceleration of AI tools?
So there are a few things that come together at a certain point. I always make this comparison to a social economy of sharing. Like in 2008, suddenly WeWork, Airbnb, Uber were released to the market. Coincidence?
No.
There are no coincidences. In 2008, we had millennials starting to come to the workforce because they started to become adults. In 2008, there was a global crisis. And in 2008, we already had an iPhone with apps and opening the availability of services. Basically, people in different places, you know, observe trends and they see some change factors and they start to think in a similar way, like, hey, why do we need to own something if we can share it? Why do I need a big office if I can just share it with other people? And technology is a base for allowing those ideas really happen. So with AI, it's that number one, from technological perspective, the power of computers, the quantum computers, has like significantly raised according to the Moore law, that every 2 years the power of transistors is going double, and we're almost at the capacity, but that will probably force some new innovations in terms of technology growth. OpenAI was working on this very intensively for quite a few years, and I don't know if you know, but it was a foundation at the beginning. They didn't have a commercial mindset at first, so they really wanted to see of how artificial intelligence can help humanity. And then they split and made one of the commercial parts. But when you have something like ChatGPT, which is a big model for generative AI, you can use that model to different things. It's just like having Google Maps. When Google Maps was built and was such a good software, suddenly, you know, Uber could benefit. All the deliveries, location services, like it changed the apps. Yeah, the apps, the workflow generally of some of the businesses, it's helped. Yeah, and just the fact that you don't have to build it from the beginning, but you can use something that's available there, is speeding things up a lot. And of course, OpenAI was not the only company working on that. There were many others, but they took a very impressive strategy to just open it and let people test, and that, you know, went on a very good ground of early adopters who then started to make videos and proof of how how they're using it. So I think those people are great teachers right now, and we should all learn how to prompt because that's the new art of how to really put a good prompt for AI so you get out the benefit, and it will accelerate things extremely within the next couple of years. I think it's very hard to comprehend right now what new things will still come.
Do you think that, your personal opinion, do you think it's going to replace some of the businesses, or it's just going to be a tool in the hands of humans?
I think a little bit of both. Just as every innovation cleans up something that does not need to exist anymore, but it introduces new things. So it's not that suddenly, because I don't know how many PowerPoint presentations you do a week, but I do probably a 12 around. So it's not that I will do them in 5 minutes and then see it.
Yeah,
the expectations will be that I will do them in 5 minutes, so I have time for something else.
That's expectation, but we also have some future years when the AI will develop, and maybe in 2 years you will just need to press one button and everything will be ready. Because for our sector, for example, right, and we also found that at the beginning, when the AI just exploded, we had a thought that we are in danger, because basically at the moment you can, with a design, you can add everything, just press the button and you have an image. But I personally am thinking that it's going to be just a tool to develop the image, because still the premium sector will look for something custom. Always. It's like, that's always was like that. Nobody wants the things which everyone can have. Premium customers, premium partners, they want very unique things. And I think that still it's not gonna be so dangerous like everyone, like most of the people think.
I think it's dangerous for certain things right now, like repeatable, easy things that you can teach a 12-year-old that probably can be taken
like routine tasks?
Like for example, we don't have people anymore just reading the invoice and putting the number. It's usually there is an automated scan of the invoice that comes in the email, and it's already pre-booked and just someone confirms it. In theory, that job was taken. In theory, there was a person that would take your ticket for highway and and all day do this. This is replaced by machines.
I mean, it's like mostly non-qualified job, right?
But as you know, with renders, for sure you know this, as you put different prompts, you have different end result. And the most difficult thing is like, I got this end result, I like this window, but I don't like the door. How do I keep it? I put different prompt, I again have different door, different window. So it will take, I agree with you, it's a tool, and for professionals, like you will still need a professional that will work with you to achieve the final result. But for sure, if it's used smartly, it can help like speed up the process of just like talking with customers. So you don't create one render in 10 hours, but you create 20 renders in 10 minutes, and you have a possibility to steer the conversation differently. So they tell you what they like, what they dislike, and so on.
Which AI technologies you use in your current role at the moment? What help you to make your daily routine easier?
I personally like block NLP, which helps in writing and creating content. So you, for example, say like, I want to speak about this, and it gives you 10 ideas on how you can name this topic, depending if it's for LinkedIn or if it's for live presentation.
Based on the target audience, right?
Yes. And you can create like longer chapters of, and I would spend before so much time, like I had this idea to speak about electric toothbrush at the presentation I'm doing actually tomorrow. And like ask people, when do you think electric toothbrush was invented? Which year?
I don't know.
It was 1954. But the main point is that electric toothbrush could not be invented before electricity and before toothbrush was invented.
Of course.
Because that's how innovation works. Like, it's not something that it's like out of the blue totally. It's always a little bit of other pieces.
You're making better some existing thing. Basically, you're developing some existing things based on the technologies and the world.
Yes, and you're connecting maybe sometimes, something from one industry with another industry, and that, but it's always connecting the dots, always, building on something. I just wanted to verify all the information about toothbrush and connect. So I asked Block NLP to just write me the story of electric toothbrush, put years and names of inventors and so on. So I have all this condensed knowledge. I cannot get it through Google. I can do it with AI. But also a few really great solutions for buildings. Generative AI for office managers and for property managers when they just want to put information to people. Hey, pizza today at 3 p.m. They never know how to write a nice, that's not their job. They're not content creators. They just put pizza, 3, main lobby. And they put the type of the language they want, formal, informal, funny. And in the platform we have in Q22 in Warsaw, delivered by Sherry, we have this possibility. So they just click, they automatically translate from Polish to English or from English to Polish, and they can post it in 1 minute without I need to write something and how do I put it so people are excited.
and then I try it again, the same, like I was writing last week.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. The term smart building strategy, right, which we already discussed, is mentioned also in your role. Could you provide more details actually on what this involves and how it fits with your goal of digitalizing real sector?
I believe that today's world, every building should have smart building strategy. So they should really define what functionalities they are addressing, what type of experience they want to deliver to people, to both users, managers, operations team, owner of the building, what data we want to have from the building. Do we want to know at what time people are coming to the building, at what time they're leaving? Do we want to know how much energy we're consuming for heating the building, for cooling the building? And when you define that, what you want to achieve, then you can actually map out of how to do it or what needs to be changed in the building as a part of retrofit strategy. How does it align with ESG goals? And in the end, when you map out, different functionalities, then you can create a list of what systems I need and how those systems operate. Are they integrated between each other? There's, for example, BMS system that manages the temperature, ventilation flow in the building, knows that from access control system that people are not on 14th floor at all today.
So it doesn't need to use this, right? I mean, so you can, you don't need to consume the electricity, right?
Exactly.
By providing the conditioning. Okay.
For the build to rent apartments, that's very interesting. Imagine you have a building with 200 apartments and you're managing this building. One customer is moving out. The lease is over and there is no client to move in. In CRM, if you close the contract, you can just tag apartments is empty and the heating goes down to 16 degrees Celsius. The water is switched so you don't have any leakage in case someone moved out and be angry and just leave water running. So you can control the operational cost but also the safety of the apartment. You can lock the place or maybe open the access to the cleaning personnel so they can clean the apartment for the next one. Yeah.
But sorry, I interrupt you.
No, it's just, having it all in one place. Sometimes it's impossible to have just one software for everything, but when they are interconnected and you can send some data between them, you're getting to the next level. And I think what will happen really in the future is that AI will be the tool that will connect different data from different perspectives, like, for example, engagement survey at occupiers to connect to access control system and verify, does our engagement result changes when people are more in the office or it doesn't have any influence? Does the humidity and the temperature in the building changes the mood of people, or it actually doesn't matter? How, if we're saving energy and we have AI controlling the temperatures in the building, are our people satisfied? Is our CO2 level in the building still okay? It's different systems controlling those, but or collecting data, but for a human to find those connections between so many different systems is so difficult. So if we have good smart building strategy now, if if we define which data we want to have and in which form, if we're pushing for data ontology, for standardization of how our data and where is the central database for our building or for portfolio of our buildings, then we will be ready for the next step and actually use the power of AI to improve the performance, to cut carbon emission, and to make better experience for people.
And how do you take this ENPS feedbacks, right? And also using AI tools, or it's built somehow in your solution, or how are you taking all these feedbacks?
I usually work building by building and the project by project or client.
So basically manually, right?
No, for my NPS we have a system in Colliers, but for their NPS, for like building and perception of the space, everyone has different system. But it's even more complicated if, for example, landlord has one system and then occupiers have their own system. Sometimes occupiers don't want to let the landlord ask final users, are they satisfied with the building? But if we can connect data and some could be shared, we are step further.
Who is your final client, let's say like that? Usually it's some new developments which is coming to you for the solution before they confirm the architectural plan, or if, for example, I have a building of which is 10 years built, can I implement any of your solutions? I would be limited, or something I can implement like completely?
We're always limited whenever we are in whatever situation we are. There are certain limitations, but both. So of course, when you just have a land and you're starting to work on a project, that's the best moment to really think of a smart building strategy before you design BMS, before you contract access control system and so on. Because then you can really define what you want to achieve and how to do it, and have technical scope for each of the system or a part of the building. But when you have 10 years of a building, it's probably time to revisit what you have, because, for example, your GSM enhancement system might be already aging. Your BMS probably doesn't have smart metering because it didn't really exist 10 years ago, so you don't have energy consumption data, which will then influence your ESG and make the reporting very, very difficult. So I would say around 7 years old, building is starting to become old technologically, and it's time to work on a smart strategy again, or review what we have.
But still, is it possible to implement the smart strategy in the old building?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like with access control system, for example, if it's 10 years old, mostly we can use all infrastructure, cabling controllers. We need to change the readers or add NFC to the existing reader, so it can be used with phone access. So it's not that expensive as everyone thinks, but it's also not the cheapest thing. Yeah, it's not buying a paint and just redoing your lobby. You need to actually scrape some things out, and depending of what decisions were taken 10 years ago for choosing systems. But I would say yes, it absolutely needs. And
Okay.
Actually, projects like that are more fascinating because of the certain limitations. You need to be more creative, and you need to think of how to make it efficient and what to focus on. So it really gives the value for users, and it doesn't break the wallet of the owner.
Yeah, and I think it's even for you, right? It's a brainstorming how to implement that. It's not like a classic workflow. It's not the classic routine stages. I'm sure there is always some changes, some difficulties, some challenges. Yeah,
absolutely.
My last question: looking ahead, what do you think will be next stage of evolution of the real estate sector? Apart from artificial intelligence, which we already discussed, is there anything else what will be the crucial game changers in the future?
I think one of the things that will be happening and needs to kind of happen is standardization of data, of what data we really have and who do we share it with and how. Because for last years we were really focused on APIs and connecting systems, so systems could talk to each other. But if everyone is doing it their own way, and then the logs are just like in so many different ways written, we will never be able to take a next step for smart cities, for smart world that really understands and can benchmark to each other. Yeah, I believe in the future we should be able to share parking spaces between residential and office, and make it efficient, so we don't have to build new parkings. I think we should know how we benchmark our building in terms of energy efficiency within other buildings, even competition. Yeah, so that makes us want to be better. Not only I have this consumption for the last 12 months, it's the best, but how about the neighbor? Are they better? If they are better, how do they do it? How I can be better thanks to them, because we should be all working towards better planet.
Perfect. I think that's a great note on which we can finish. Renata, thank you so much for taking your time today. I know it's a busy day for you, and thank you
for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks. Guys, if you enjoyed this interview, we would like to see your messages in our comments below. If you want to see some other type of content as well, please share. We're always happy to hear new ideas.